ready to fetch the key points. Welcome to Becoming a Professional Guide, the heart of Belizean tourism. Let's make this short and sweet.
When we talk about the tourism industry, we are looking at a vast and interconnected network of businesses and services that work together toward a single vital goal: meeting the needs and ensuring the satisfaction of visitors. It is not just one single company or one specific activity. Rather, it is a whole ecosystem of services designed to support someone who has traveled away from their usual environment. Think of it as a collection of diverse businesses that provide everything from a place to sleep and a meal to eat to the entertainment and transportation that make a trip memorable. At its heart, this industry is about hospitality and the professional delivery of services that cater to people who are looking for something they cannot find in their daily lives. To understand this better, we can break down what exactly makes up this collection of businesses. If you open a hotel, you are providing accommodation, which is essentially a comfortable bed and a safe space for a traveler to rest. But tourism does not stop at the hotel door. It extends to the restaurants and catering services that provide nourishment and a taste of local flavor.
It includes the transportation companies that move visitors from the airport to the coast or deep into the jungle. It also encompasses the tour companies and entertainment providers that create the very experiences visitors crave. In the context of Belize, this might mean a business that specializes in river canoeing, mountain climbing, or guided caving. Each of these individual businesses, whether they are located in a bustling town or a quiet coastal village, contributes a piece to the larger puzzle of the tourism industry. One of the most important aspects of this definition is the focus on satisfaction. The tourism industry is not just about selling a product, it is about providing for the desires and expectations of unique individuals. Visitors often travel because they are looking for something specific that their home environment lacks. For instance, someone living in a cold climate during the winter might travel to Belize to experience the warmth of the tropics and the lush green of the rainforest. They come to see the mountains, the hills, and the unique views that we possess. Because they are seeking these specific experiences, every business within the industry must be geared toward fulfilling those expectations. Whether a visitor is buying a souvenir, booking a room, or hiring a professional guide, they are looking for a high standard of service that makes their journey worthwhile. This is why we view tourism as a service-oriented industry. It is the professional occupation of providing local expertise and care, ensuring that every facility and service consumed by the tourist adds to a positive and fulfilling experience. As you move forward in your journey to becoming a professional guide, remember that you are a key part of this collection, acting as a bridge between the visitor and the many services that define the tourism landscape. To truly understand the tourism industry in Belize, we have to look at it through two distinct lenses: the tangible and the intangible. These two components work together to create the full visitor experience, and as a professional guide, your job is to master the balance between them. Let's start with the tangible elements. These are the physical, touchable things that a tourist pays for and consumes during their journey. When we talk about tangibles, we are talking about the hardware of tourism. This includes transportation, such as the vans, boats, and small planes that move people from the international airport to the kais or the deep jungle. It includes accommodation, which is the physical bed a guest sleeps in and the roof over their head at night. Food and beverages are also major tangible elements. When a visitor sits down to a meal of traditional rice and beans or tastes a dish made with corn and cacao, they are consuming a physical product. Even souvenirs and the equipment used on a tour, like life jackets or hiking gear, fall into this category because they are material objects you can see and hold. On the other side of the coin, we have the intangible components, which are often the most memorable parts of a trip. You cannot touch or hold an intangible element, but you can certainly feel its impact. These are the experiences, the emotions, and the knowledge that a visitor takes home in their heart and mind rather than their suitcase. Education is a primary intangible element. When you explain the significance of a Mayan archaeological site or the ecological role of the mangrove forests, you are providing an intangible service. Culture is another huge piece of this puzzle. The feeling of being welcomed into a community, the rhythm of the music, and the shared traditions of the Belizean people are all intangible.
Then there is adventure. Adventure isn't a physical object. It is the thrill of caving, the excitement of horseback riding through the bush, or the sense of awe when spotting a rare bird. Relaxation and the feeling of escaping the stresses of home are also vital intangibles that visitors seek out. As a guide, your role is to bridge the gap between these two worlds. You might be managing the tangible logistics, like making sure the transport is on time and the lunch is prepared, but your real value comes from facilitating the intangible experience.
Through effective interpretive guiding, you turn a physical walk through the forest into an educational journey about the lungs of the earth. You take the tangible site of a limestone formation and turn it into an intangible story about the Mayan underworld. Understanding this distinction is what separates a basic service provider from a professional guide. While a business can provide a room and a meal, only a skilled guide can weave those physical elements into a rich tapestry of culture, adventure, and lifelong memories.
A successful tour happens when the tangible needs of the guest are met so seamlessly that they are free to fully immerse themselves in the intangible magic of the Belizean experience. When we talk about the tourism industry, the central figure is the tourist. But what exactly defines a tourist in an official capacity? It is more than just someone on vacation. According to the standard definition used by the World Tourism Organization and explored in our lecture, a tourist is someone who travels to and stays in places outside their usual environment for more than 24 hours, but not more than one consecutive year. This travel can be for leisure, business, or other purposes, provided the traveler is not being remunerated, meaning they aren't being paid by an entity within the place they are visiting.
To really understand this, let's break down those key components. First, consider the idea of the usual environment. This refers to the geographical area where an individual conducts their regular life routines, such as where they live, work, and study. For a person to be classified as a tourist, they must step outside that bubble. If you are a resident of the United States and you leave the freezing snow of a northern winter to seek the tropical warmth of Belize, you are clearly stepping out of your usual environment.
You are coming to enjoy something we possess that you simply do not have at home. As the lecture mentioned, this is a primary driver of tourism, the desire to experience things that are absent in one's home country, whether that is a specific climate, a type of cuisine, or a unique geographical feature like our mountains and jungles. The time element is equally important. The 1-year limit is a vital distinction. If someone stays in a destination for more than a year, they are no longer viewed as a temporary visitor. They are generally classified as a resident or an expatriate. Tourism is characterized by its temporary nature. It is a transition from the ordinary to the extraordinary, with the understanding that the traveler will eventually return to their home base. We also have to look at the motivation for travel. While we often associate tourists with leisure and relaxation, escaping the daily grind to sit on a beach or explore a Maya temple, the definition also includes business travel. A professional visiting Belize to attend a conference or meet with clients is technically a tourist, provided their paycheck is not coming from a Belizean employer. They are utilizing local services like hotels, restaurants, and transportation, which makes them a vital part of the tourism economy. This definition even applies on a smaller, regional scale. Think about the common trip from Belize to Chetumal. Why do people go? They go because Chetumal offers certain goods, services, or views that might not be available in their immediate local area. Even on these shorter trips, as long as you are crossing into a different environment and utilizing services for your own satisfaction, you are participating in the mechanics of tourism. For a professional guide, understanding this official definition is the first step in recognizing the diverse range of people you will serve. Whether they are here for a week of birdwatching or a 3-day business summit, they are all guests who have stepped away from their familiar lives to experience the unique offerings of Belize. As you transition into the world of professional guiding, one of the most vital lessons to master is the realization that there is no such thing as a general audience or a commonplace visitor. While it is easy to see a group of 20 people as a single unit, a truly professional guide understands that this group is actually composed of 20 unique individuals, each arriving with their own specific set of needs, desires, and expectations. To succeed in this industry, you must treat every visitor as a special guest.
This shift in perspective is what separates a basic escort from an effective interpretive guide. Interpretive guiding is the art of translating the world around you into a meaningful experience for your guests. It is not enough to simply state facts about a tree or a temple. You must interpret the culture, the jungle, the religions, and the history of Belize in a way that resonates with the specific person standing in front of you. Whether you are explaining the archaeological significance of a Mayan site or the intricate process of creolization that shaped our nation, your goal is to breathe life into the information.
When you become an interpretive storyteller, your guests stop just hearing your voice and start truly listening, because you have connected the destination to their personal interests. Consider the growing market for niche tourism, such as birdwatching. For a general visitor, a bird is just a bird. But for a specialized group, a single sighting can be the culmination of a lifelong dream. These visitors often spend thousands of dollars and travel great distances just to see one specific species, like the northern patoo, the king vulture, or the rare orange-breasted falcon. An effective guide recognizes this passion and matches it with their own expertise. You might find yourself leading a group up a challenging hill for hours, and when you finally locate that one bird on their list, the reaction is often pure joy. Guests might dance or celebrate because you understood exactly what they were looking for. This level of service requires you to be constantly aware of the diverse motivations behind travel. Some guests come for the adrenaline of a cave system, while others seek the quiet relaxation of a coastal lagoon. Some want to understand the deep history of 1862 and British colonization, while others want to learn about the medicinal properties of plants in the tropical rainforest. By specializing in areas like archaeology, marine biology, or cultural history, you can better serve these specific desires. Remember, the sky is the limit for a guide who can discern what makes a guest tick. By focusing on effective interpretation and treating every visitor as a unique individual, you transform a simple tour into a lifelong memory, ensuring the heart of Belizean tourism continues to beat through personalized professional service. To be a truly professional guide in Belize, you have to move past the idea that you are leading a general audience. There is no such thing as a commonplace visitor. Instead, every individual brings a unique set of needs, desires, and expectations that you must be ready to meet through effective interpretive guiding. Managing these special groups starts with understanding the logistics behind why they are here in the first place. You have to look closely at travel motivations. When a client calls your office, one of the first questions should be why they want to visit Belize. Are they coming for the adrenaline of a survival trip in the jungle, or are they here for the quiet solitude of birdwatching? Understanding their motivation allows you to tailor the experience before they even step off the plane. This leads directly into marketing and demographics. A professional guide or tour company needs to use specific statistics to understand who their visitors are. Marketing has become much more sophisticated, allowing us to target people with professional hobbies or rational interests. For example, birdwatching is one of the massive leisure industries in the world today. Serious birders will spend significant amounts of money to see a specific species, like the king vulture or the orange-breasted falcon. If you can find that one bird on their list, the emotional reward for the guest is huge. They might even start dancing or celebrating right there on the trail. Whether you specialize in archaeology, marine life, or general culture, knowing the demographic and professional background of your group helps you speak their language and provide the depth of information they crave.
Beyond motivations, a guide must manage physical and cultural considerations with extreme care. You have to be observant of your group's physical abilities and disabilities. If you see someone with thick glasses or notice they are struggling with the heat, you have to adjust the pace. Sometimes you even have to have the character to say no. If a tour is physically demanding, like a 6-mile night hike through the jungle or a steep mountain climb, and you notice a guest might be at risk due to their physical condition or weight, you must prioritize their safety over the sale. It takes a professional to handle these conversations with grace and honesty. Cultural sensitivity is another vital logistical piece. You need to research where your guests are from because different cultures have different norms regarding eye contact, personal space, or even shaking hands. For some, looking a man directly in the eyes is a sign of disrespect, while for others, a firm handshake is essential. Finally, consider the logistics of group size. Managing a large group requires intense planning for food, transport, and equipment. You have to calculate the cost per person and the literal weight of the supplies you need to carry into a cave or out to a remote atoll. By mastering these logistical details, from the psychological motivations to the physical realities of the trail, you transition from being just a person with a map to a professional interpretive guide who ensures every visitor feels like the individual they are. Belize's identity as a premier global destination is anchored in its stunning marine attractions, starting with the magnificent Barrier Reef. Stretching the entire length of the country from north to south, it stands as the longest barrier reef in the Western Hemisphere and the second largest in the entire world. While some may compare it to the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, it is important for a professional guide to emphasize that Belize's reef is a vibrant, living organism teeming with biodiversity.
This massive structure acts as a protective shield for the coastline, but it also creates a unique environment known as the lagoon. In the Belizean context, the lagoon refers to the expansive body of water lying between the mainland shoreline and the barrier reef. These waters are often called the flats because of their shallow nature, sometimes reaching depths of only 3 feet, and they are world-renowned for offering some of the best fly fishing on the planet. Transitioning to the edge of the land, we encounter the mangrove ecosystems, which are biologically essential to the health of the entire coast. Mangroves serve 3 primary functions that every guide must be able to explain. First, they act as a vital nursery for the ocean's youth. The complex, tangled root systems of the various mangrove species provide a safe monastery for juvenile fish, crabs, and shrimp. These small creatures live among the roots to hide from predators until they are large enough to venture out into the deeper ocean. Second, mangroves are the mainland's first line of defense. They protect the coast from erosion and the devastating impact of hurricane-driven waves, effectively anchoring the land in place. Finally, they serve as a natural filtration system. Acting like a sponge, they trap debris and sediment, cleaning the water before it reaches the sensitive coral structures of the reef. Further out, beyond the main reef, Belize is home to 3 distinct atolls. An atoll is a unique formation where a circular ring of coral reef encircles a central body of water. Within these formations lies one of the most famous marine landmarks in the world, the Great Blue Hole. Reaching depths of approximately 500 feet, this massive underwater sinkhole is a geological wonder that attracts divers and explorers from every corner of the globe.
For guides, the economic value of these marine resources is immense. Beyond general snorkeling, there is a highly specialized industry centered on fly fishing. Enthusiasts travel here specifically to seek out the big 3 game fish, the bonefish, the permit, and the prehistoric tarpon. These species are part of a catch-and-release culture that sustains local livelihoods while ensuring the environment remains healthy for future generations. Understanding the interconnectedness of the mangroves, the lagoon, and the reef is the key to becoming an effective interpretive guide for Belize's marine wonders. Belize is often described as a melting pot, but for a professional guide, it is more accurate to view it as a vibrant mosaic where every individual piece contributes to a larger, unified picture. To understand the heart of Belizean tourism, we must look at the diversity of its people and the unique social process known as creolization. This process is the secret ingredient that binds the nation together. It describes how various ethnic groups, including the Creole, the Mestizo, the Garifuna, and 3 distinct Maya groups, the Mopan, the Kekchi, and the Yucatec, have moved beyond simply living side by side to actively learning from and influencing one another. Creolization is about the mutual respect and the blending of traditions that occur when different backgrounds interact over generations. While groups like the Chinese, East Indians, and Mennonites add further layers to this complexity, the overarching Belizean identity is defined by this shared evolution. As a guide, your role is to interpret how these cultures are both distinct and interconnected.
While groups are differentiated by their ancestral languages, traditional clothing, and religious beliefs, they are united through daily life and common traditions.
Perhaps the most powerful bridge between these cultures is food. In Belize, the dinner table is where creolization is most visible. You can see it in how traditional dishes have crossed cultural lines to become national favorites. For example, the Garifuna culture contributes incredible flavors through staples like cassava and hudut, a traditional fish stew made with coconut milk and mashed plantains. The Maya heritage is deeply rooted in the use of corn and cacao, the latter of which was so highly valued by their ancestors that it was once used as currency.
Today, visitors can still experience the significance of these ingredients in modern Maya cooking. Furthermore, the influence of the Mestizo and Creole populations is felt through iconic dishes like escabeche, a flavorful onion-based soup, and relleno negro, a dark, spiced poultry dish. These are not just meals, they are historical records of the people who created them. In Belize, it is common for a family of one background to regularly prepare and enjoy the traditional food of another. The sharing of the plate signifies a deeper social harmony.
When you explain these traditions to a visitor, you aren't just talking about ingredients. You are explaining how a nation maintains its diverse roots while building a single, cohesive culture. Understanding this process of creolization allows you to present Belize not just as a destination with different people, but as a living example of how diversity creates a stronger, more flavorful whole. This cultural literacy is essential for any guide who wishes to provide an authentic and meaningful experience for their guests.
Belize is often described as the heart of the ancient Maya world, and as a professional guide, understanding these archaeological sites is about much more than just memorizing dates or identifying stone structures. It is about interpreting a living history and a profound spiritual legacy that continues to shape the identity of the nation. When you stand with a group at a site like Karakal, you are standing at the largest archaeological site in the country, a place that once served as a massive urban power center.
But to make these places come alive, you must move beyond the physical scale and into the stories that define them. Take Sunan Tanich as a prime example. Its name translates to Stone Woman, a title rooted in local folklore rather than ancient text. According to legend, a man from a nearby village encountered a woman dressed in a long white dress with flowing black hair and piercing red eyes. She appeared to be floating in front of the temple, and as he watched in awe, she vanished into the stone wall.
Sharing these kinds of stories allows a visitor to see the site not just as a ruin, but as a place of mystery and enduring cultural significance. To truly represent this history, you must also understand the people behind it. In Belize today, the Maya legacy is carried forward by three distinct groups: the Yucatec, the Mopan, and the Kekchi. While they are unique, they share a heritage characterized by a deep spiritual reverence for the natural world. For the ancient Maya, the earth was a living entity. They believed in asking the earth for permission before taking action, such as cutting down a tree or clearing land for a farm. This spirituality extended to their view of the cosmos, particularly the concept of the underworld. They believed the underworld, or Xibalba, consisted of 9 distinct levels, and they viewed the many caves found throughout Belize as the sacred portals to this realm. This explains why caves are so central to the archaeological record, serving as sites for complex rituals and offerings. The history of the Maya is also a story of adaptation and sometimes desperation. During periods of cataclysmic drought, their religious practices became even more intense. They believed the gods were angry, leading to an increase in sacrifices that moved from the eldest members of society to the youngest in a tragic attempt to restore balance and bring the rains. Even their daily commerce was tied to the land, with cacao beans serving as a form of currency and corn acting as the literal lifeblood of their civilization. As you guide visitors through these sites, your goal is to weave together these threads of history, folklore, and religious belief. By explaining the 9 levels of the underworld or the significance of cacao, you help tourists realize that these limestone temples are sacred monuments to a complex society that still resonates through the traditions and people of Belize today.
Belize's tropical rainforests are often described as the lungs of the earth, and for very good reason. To understand their ecological importance, we have to look at them as more than just a collection of trees. They are living, breathing organisms that sustain life for the entire planet. Just as our own lungs allow us to breathe by exchanging gases, these vast green expanses take in the carbon dioxide that we and our industries produce and convert it into the fresh oxygen we need to survive. This process is happening every second across the mountains of Belize, where the dense greenery stretches as far as the eye can see. When you look at the hillsides, perhaps on the road toward Caracol, you will notice various shades of deep green and trees that seem to pierce the sky. These are what we call emergent trees, such as the majestic mahogany or the towering ceiba. These giants can grow well over 100 feet tall, literally protruding above the normal level of the forest canopy to catch the sunlight and the wind. This height is not just for show, it is a strategic advantage. Because they stand so high above the competition, these trees can use the powerful winds at that altitude to spread their seeds far across the landscape, ensuring the next generation of the forest takes root. It is also vital to remember that each tree is a living organism with its own complex internal systems. We must view them with respect, recognizing that they have internal structures, like xylem, that act as pipes to transport water and nutrients from the earth. When a tree is cut, it is more than just removing timber. It is ending a life that provides essential services to the environment. Beyond oxygen production, these forests offer a wealth of medicinal plants that have been used for centuries, and they provide the fertile soil that once supported the great Maya civilizations through their vast plantations. Of course, one of the most visible roles of the rainforest is providing a sanctuary for Belize's incredible wildlife. The jungle is a primary provider of both food and shelter for a massive array of species. For instance, the Chickabul National Park acts as a critical habitat for the brilliant scarlet macaw. In the mountain pine ridge, the rugged terrain provides the perfect nesting grounds for rare birds like the king vulture and the orange-breasted falcon. Meanwhile, the Coxcomb Basin Wildlife Sanctuary serves as a world-renowned preserve for the jaguar. As a professional guide, you help visitors understand that even if they do not see a jaguar crouching in the shadows, the animal is there, watching and relying on this ecosystem. The rainforest is a complex web where every tree, every medicinal herb, and every animal is interconnected, working together to maintain the balance of life in our beautiful nation. This deep connection between the flora and fauna is what makes the Belizean jungle a world-class attraction and a vital part of our global environment. As a professional guide in Belize, one of your most important skills is the ability to discern exactly who is standing in front of you. Not every visitor comes to our country with the same goals, and if you treat a luxury seeker the same way you treat a wilderness survivalist, you will likely miss the mark. To provide truly effective interpretive guiding, you must be able to classify your guests into 4 major categories: nature escapists, ecotourists, comfortable naturalists, and passive players.
Let us start with the nature escapists. These individuals are looking for solitude and a deep, unfiltered connection with the wild. They are the ones who appreciate being in areas where they cannot hear the sound of a motor or see another group of people. For the nature escapist, the lack of modern amenities is not a drawback, it is a feature. They are often perfectly happy with basic facilities, or even no facilities at all, as long as it means they get to experience the raw beauty of the jungle or the sea. Interestingly, these visitors are often very well informed. You might find that they have studied the birds and plants of Belize before even arriving, and they can often keep up with local guides, even in the most challenging terrain. They do not want a curated, sanitized version of nature. They want the real thing. Next, we have the ecotourists. The key to understanding this group is the combination of nature and culture. While the escapist wants to be alone, the ecotourist wants to see how the local people interact with their environment.
They appreciate the human element. An ecotourist is the type of visitor who will spend the morning hiking through a protected area and the afternoon in a village like San Antonio, learning how to make corn tortillas or tasting traditional dishes like escabeche and relleno negro. They want their travel to support the local economy directly. For them, the memories of social interaction with Belizeans are just as valuable as the photos they take of wildlife. The third category is the comfortable naturalist. These visitors have a genuine interest in the environment, but they have very different expectations regarding logistics. They are looking for a more sophisticated level of service and amenities. While they want to see the archaeological sites or the marine life, they also want to return to a high-end hotel with air conditioning, a fancy bed, and a coffee maker in their room. They are generally willing to spend more money to ensure their experience is easy and comfortable. As a guide, you must recognize that their threshold for physical hardship is lower, and you should tailor your tour to provide the beauty of Belize without the strain. Finally, we have the passive players. These individuals often did not choose Belize as their primary destination. Rather, they are here because they are accompanying a friend, a spouse, or a family member. Their personal motivation for the trip might not be nature-based at all. This is where your skill as a guide truly shines. You must be flexible and observant to figure out what might spark their interest. By discerning their hidden hobbies or professional backgrounds, you can adapt your presentation so that they too feel fully engaged in the experience.
By understanding these 4 types of tourists, you can transform a standard tour into a personalized journey that meets the specific desires of every visitor who steps onto our shores.